the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 8-game slate, and we just came over from the pitching pod. Relatively weak arms outside of kind of those top two guys, but depending on what you're doing, tournaments could be fun. You could pay up for basically whoever you want to if you go cheap. But there are also some decent mid-range options too.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely some decent options here. I think you can make some pretty solid cash lineups tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And Mets and Nationals, Max Scherzer, facing off against the Mets takes them out of play. But with Steven Matz, I'm not sure if the deal here was that these prices were set when he was there, but he scratched. It's Logan Gray, and now you're getting Bryce Harper at 4.3, Daniel Murphy at 4K, two quality lefties at a really cheap price tag.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta like that. I think that's a great combo. And honestly, I think you can still pay up at pitching and get those guys in your lineup. So I'm not too particularly worried about Logan Veray sort of shutting them down. So I'm definitely in on that.
No, Veray's, above average home runs per nine. 1.18 to lefties, a 33% hard ball rate. Sure, what was that strong? But you just look at these Nationals bats. Harper, big night last night. He's going to be highly owned today just because of, one, last night, and also just that price tag. It's not where you usually see him.
Yeah, definitely.
And same thing goes for Murphy. 4K is a great price tag for him there.
For sure. 4K is potentially obviously a better price than Harper, but I like them together.
Yeah, I do too. And I think the Nationals are an intriguing stack. I think with those guys, they're not really too expensive. So if you were looking at Scherzer and maybe pay down a little bit more at the SP2 spot, you can kind of work those rest of those guys in.
For sure.
Rangers and Yankees, next one here. Looking at Nick Martinez, really average right-hander. Martinez is more of a reverse splits guy, though. 387 WOBA allowed to right-handers going back to last year. Against lefties, he's still very average, 306. Moderate low strikeout rate. So I think you can look at these teams. Beltran likely not going to be in the lineup tonight, so that's a little bit of a downgrade. But you're getting Ellsbury and Gardner at a really cheap price tag, and same thing goes with McCann.
Yeah. Again, I think you have to love the lefties in this lineup, even a Teixeira. So I think the 1 through 5 at least here tonight is going to be really strong. Even A-Rod in the middle there. If you want to go a full stack here, 1 through 5, I'm in on that.
Yeah, and I think you could see Starlin Castro sneak up into that lineup with Beltran being likely out for the night. So he could be a nice value at 3,500.
Definitely.
So, Ranger side of things, I'm not really looking to pick on any of these guys. They are cheap. You look at all those guys outside of Desmond, pretty cheap against Tanaka. Tanaka's beatable. Not a guy I'm looking to really exploit against, but I do think you can maybe toss in some really hopeful GPP plays at a cheap price tag as far as one-offs go.
Yeah. I think for sure when you look at a Mazzara or a Chu again, I think those are the lefties we've kind of been focusing on lately, and they're decent options again tonight.
Yeah, really cheap, great ballpark to hit in. I think they're kind of one of those guys that you work into maybe a core that you're really high on that might be pretty chalky, and maybe that Chu kind of knocks things off and you get him at a single-digit percentage ownership.
Definitely.
So, Indians and Braves here. Danny Salazar versus Joel De La Cruz, and obviously the Indians bats are one of the more expensive offenses on the slate. Definitely in play against De La Cruz. Average right-hander at best. So I do think you're kind of looking at these. And like we've been on the last few days, you can go a number of ways with this offense as far as top through bottom.
Yeah, for sure. I love this lineup. They've been solid all year, especially against right-handed pitching. So you look at Kipnis, you look at Lindor. Even though they're higher priced, I think they're worth it tonight.
Yeah, I do too, and I like a Chisenhall, Jose Ramirez, Tyler Naquin at 3,100. That back end, it pays off. I usually don't trend down there too often, but with this team, it certainly does work.
Yeah, definitely. It actually has been working pretty consistently of late. So the Jose Ramirez, Chisenhall, Naquin grouping there, definitely solid.
Yeah, and you're looking at the Braves side. Obviously against Danny Salazar, it's an easy stay away situation.
For sure.
Dodgers and Brewers here, the next one. Decent over-under here, and you're looking at Brock Stewart. Guy does have some upside as far as strikeouts go. Milwaukee, kind of that strikeout team. I'm not really on him in cash games. I think GPP wise, I do. I'm with you as far as I do like him in GPPs. In my outside of Brock Stewart lineups, and kind of taking a look at some of those big names there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, were you mentioning the Brewers there?
Yeah, being GPP options just for me.
Oh, okay. That's yeah. You like Brock a little more than I do tonight. I think again, I think the Brewers are a decently strong stacking option. They're a little overvalued. I don't want to pay 5,300 for Villar, obviously. But I mean for Braun, Gannett, Lucroy, and Carter, I think there's some nice home run upside here, especially with ballpark considered.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I just think, I mean, obviously, I'm going to limit my Brewers shares just because I might have a Brock Stewart or two in a couple lineups. So, overall, the pricings are a little high for me. I think there's a little bit better values on the slate, but I definitely think they are in play still.
Yeah, definitely.
Dodgers here, I mean, Junior Guerrero hasn't been a slouch, but he's not a great arm either. Look at this ballpark. I mean, one, if Justin Turner's not in the lineup, it kind of takes a little bit of pop out of this lineup. Same thing with Pedersen there, 4,700. If those
Hmm.
guys aren't in the lineup, I mean, there isn't a ton of appeal. I just think maybe Corey Seager's the one guy to really mention. Um, it, for me, I hope Justin Turner's in there because 3.9 is a great price tag for him.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously has the questionable tag right now, but we'll see as lineups come out. But if he is in there, gotta love that price. I don't even hate Adrian Gonzalez's price. Obviously hasn't been that consistent this year, but price considered, I mean, I'm definitely looking at throwing him in there
Yeah, definitely. And you might see a Trace Thompson or a Yasiel Puig kind of slip into up into higher into the lineup and become a little bit better values. And Greer, I mean, hasn't really kept the ball in the yard at times this season. So I do think there is a reasonable way to use some of those bottom end guys if they sneak up top.
for sure.
Twins and White Sox here, and Ricky Alaska, James Shields. I mean, Shields has been awful. Obviously, you can look at this Twins offense and target all you want. And I do think on both sides, you can look at both these teams as being reasonable stacking options.
Yeah, I'm looking at both these teams pretty hard here, but more so the White Sox. Adam Eaton, I like him as a pay up option. Todd Frazier, even a little bit, and obviously Tim Anderson at the top there. So I think there's some pretty decent values here for a team projected for 5 runs tonight.
Yeah, and I really like the Jose Abreu price tag at 4K. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
really nice price for him. I mean, Ricky Alaska, 352 level out to righties. As you mentioned with Eaton, a great matchup for him. So I don't mind the price tag. I think it's doable on tonight's slate. If Melky's in the lineup, I like him quite a bit. And as you mentioned, Anderson's a great option for kind of that mid-tier kind of shortstop option who's really hit the ball well this year.
for sure.
So twin side of things, I mean, obviously you can look really 1 through 6 for me. I mean, again, Shields, who's been awful this season, and obviously the Twins. I mean, boomer bust type hitters, but Shields has been giving up the rock quite a bit here over the last few weeks.
Yeah, Robbie Grossman, Joe Mauer, the lefties sort of in that lineup I like. Dozier, I think he could have another nice night against Shields, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to figure out who you like in this lineup because there's not any particularly strong hitters, but I think the collective is stronger than the individual in this case.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I like a Max Kepler at 3,500.
Yeah,
He's an intriguing lefty with some pop. I think he has some big time home run potential tonight. So I do think you could look at him. But overall, yeah, I mean, I want to look at lefties here. You just look at Shields. I mean, 384 world allowed to lefties, 1.97 home runs per nine since last year. Obviously, that's taken a major enhance over the last month. But obviously, you can really look at both sides here for offense.
definitely.
Next one here, you got the Royals and Cardinals, and Edison Volquez versus Carlos Martinez. I'm not really on the Royals offense tonight. I don't think they possess a ton of upside for me to really use them. I think the slate's big enough for me to just kind of cross them off the list.
Yeah, no, I actually like Martinez quite a bit, and I think a lot of people will. So, unfortunately, Maybe an Alex Gordon at 2,800. That's super cheap, but beyond that, I'm not really taking any gambles with the Royals here.
Yeah, Cardinal side of things, I mean, obviously you can look at them as far as offense goes. I mean, Matt Carpenter always stands out up top. I mean, expensive, but can't pay off that price tag. And for me, I don't see myself using a ton of Cardinals bats. I mean, at those prices, I think there's just far better options.
Right, for
So,
sure.
I mean, it could be a contrarian move to go against Volquez. I mean, the ballpark's not that great, but I don't know. 4.6 for a holiday. I mean, Moss 4.7. Those guys are kind of expensive. Biscotti at 3.9 is intriguing, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely with you there. So, we'll see.
Yeah. You look at the Giants and A's here. I mean, A's are projected for more runs than the Giants are. And even with Sean Manaea, who, I mean, overall, I mean, against righties has a lot of 377 WOBA. You're obviously looking, I mean, there's not a ton of right-handed bats in this Giants offense anymore with Pence gone, with Duffy gone. So this could be a lineup where he sees a lot of lefties, but I do think you can look at Posey as a decent option up top at 4,100. I don't even mind an Angel Pagan or Brandon Crawford either.
Yeah, I think when you sort of look at this matchup, you're sort of looking at the righties here. And as you mentioned, Pagan's a decent value. Even Posey tonight, I don't hate, but he's always kind of in that overpriced range for a catcher. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, I'd even be willing to do some of the punts down here, but that's more for tournaments than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be curious to see what that lineup comes down to see if they split up a couple of righties
Right.
up top of the lineup or in that middle and see what you can kind of get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Midnight really hasn't been a strong arm to target against.
No.
So, as far as the A side things go, I mean, I think the usual suspects are definitely in play here. You got Josh Reddick coming back.
Yep.
That's a nice addition. I mean, that thing makes things a little more pop in the middle with Reddick, Valencia, Davis, and Vogue. That's some power. So overall, I mean, I think the A's obviously both these teams put up a number last night, and I think the A's could possibly do it again here.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. So when you look at that, I think Reddick coming back's a pretty big addition in this matchup. But I mean, I think Crisp is overpriced for sure. I don't think I'll be touching that, but maybe like a Jed Lowry or something like that.
Yeah, Chris 4.6. I mean, the only way he's kind of playable for me is really in the stack here. I don't mind him. I mean, he has been playing well, decent matchup there against PV. So Lowry 2,800. I mean, nice punt second base option. I kind of like that 3, 4, 5, 6 type guys there. I think that's kind of an interesting 4-man stack.
Hmm.
So I mean, that vote price at 3,400 is really nice.
Yeah, definitely agree there.
Pirates and Mariners and Jameson Taillon versus Wade Miley. I think first things first. I mean, I noticed these Pirates bats. Obviously, they've been slumping. Um, but there's a lot of right-handers in that lineup that are really nice price tags. I mean, McCutcheon at 3.9, Kang 4K, Marte 4,500, and even though it's lefty on lefty, Polanco at 4K, I can take a stab at.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree there. I think you're definitely looking at the McCutcheon Kang grouping there though. For relatively cheap, I mean 7,900 for both of them. So I think you got a nice bit of power coming from that side of the plate, and that's definitely something you should be looking at.
Yeah, Miley. I mean, your average lefty, 3.34 well allowed to righties going back to last year, hasn't been particularly strong this season. So, Pirates, yes, they've been slumping. They've been bad this month. For me, at those prices, I think it's worth a look.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mariners side of things go. I mean, Jesus, they're
Seager
cheap.
Cano.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the pricing here is absolutely stupid. 1 through 6. I mean, 1 through 9, you can look at any of these guys and feel comfortable using here.
Yeah, I know. Especially the top five though, and I mean even throw the cruise option in there. So I think you could do a full Mariner stack and be pretty comfortable with it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Taylor's got a small major league sample size, but 30% line drive rate to lefties, 37% hard ball rate, 358 wOBA allowed, and you're looking at righties. They've hit them hard, 37% hard ball rates. A little bit higher strikeout rate against righties for Taylor, but overall 352 wOBA allowed. I look at these Mariners prices, and I think once again we referenced on the pitching pod that this game could be high scoring, and I think Seattle could put up some big runs here.
Definitely.
So I think those are great values on DK. And I do think really 1 through 9 that you could take a look at depending on where you're going to go with your lineups.
Right. Definitely agree.
Yeah, you seem really pumped up about Seattle.
I am pumped about the Mariners tonight. I think you can make some nice pay up options at pitcher and still fit in kind of the lineup you want. So I do think you can sneak a Cano and Seager into a Scherzer plus lineup. So that's exciting me for sure.
Is
I'm
it?
just hiding my excitement.
Someone get Russ's coffee. Where's your assistant?
I know. I need it. I need it bad.
That's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DayFantasyCafe.com for all great tools and content.